Right, let's give Mia a call back and see what she's got to say. The number is... Why don't you get back to the keypad?
Good morning, welcome to Royal Mail. You're speaking with Mia. May I take your name, please?
Mia, this is James Fisk. You've left a message on my answer phone a little while ago.
Oh, excellent. Are you okay for me to just go and get your paperwork?
Yes, certainly. Yes.
Right, just one moment, please.
Okay. Hello, Mia.
Hi. Would you mind confirming your full name and date of birth, please?
Yep.
That's lovely, thank you. And as I said, we have received your complaint. Can you let me know the name of the person or the people who you're complaining about, please?
John O'Shea and Tony Salmon.
John
O'Shea and Tony Salmon.
Tony.
When did you receive it, Mia?
Today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got that today. We always call customers the same day that we receive the paperwork.
Except as the one you'll see in the complaint where that didn't happen.
Pardon?
Except for there is one in the complaint where that didn't happen.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I've read through your complaint.
Mhm.
I understand that you dealt with it was a stage 3 grievance. Your last meeting took place on the 28th of January.
That's correct.
And on the 10th of March you returned to Norwich Mail Centre.
Yes, I did.
Right. So all that's been dealt with under the stage 3 grievance, what was the outcome of that?
In short, Tim Caie said that the manager made a mistake. That's not what he said when he was at my house, but he's expecting me to accept that a mail centre manager, who's a hiring manager, was not qualified to do the job. At the very least, that would come down to incompetence.
Was there conduct, or how was it?
Nothing was done. He told me at that meeting that I had to resubmit this complaint, which I am doing now. He gave me no time limit in which to do that. He just said that it had to be resubmitted and then the investigation would take place, a conduct investigation. All that was...
If it was dealt with under a grievance...
Well, it wasn't really dealt with, and that's the problem.
So it went to stage 3, so there must have been an outcome for that.
There was an outcome. The outcome was that he said the manager made a mistake. End of story.
Okay.
He was going to recommend that I went back to Norwich Mail Centre.
Yeah.
My understanding, as I've written in that complaint, is that John O'Shea then blocked me from returning to Norwich Mail Centre, as he had been doing for several months from the time I was at Halesworth. And my manager informed me about this email. I asked to see the email, and he told me that if he showed me that email, they would show him his P45. Now, that's, I spoke to...
There is information that you are allowed to have, and there is information that you aren't. I mean, if they would be able to say that the investigation had taken place, the outcome was that on their part they said the manager had made errors, you were to return to the mail centre, and any conduct...
But it didn't happen.
But any conduct would be issued to the manager. They wouldn't tell you about that.
Right.
Because that isn't correct.
Okay.
They wouldn't give you that information.
No, sorry, no, we might have our wires crossed there. No, I'm not talking about whatever conduct has happened.
Yeah.
This guy, Tim Caie, promised me that they would, if I resubmitted this, they would do a full conduct investigation into the complaints that I made to him at stage 3 about John O'Shea and Tony Salmon. Okay? Now, I originally submitted...
So just a minute. If it's been dealt with under grievance, we can't
It hasn't,
with the
though.
case that's already been investigated?
What I'm saying, Mia, is it hasn't been dealt with. He said that these concerns were not proper to the grievance procedure, and that whilst he heard them, there's nothing he could do unless I resubmitted, which I've done. But, as you'll see, I submitted this complaint under the grievance procedure, under the bullying and harassment procedure, on the 2nd of September 2013, and it was totally rejected by Sue Lester.
That's right, and she's our manager.
Well, then we're not going to get very far, are we?
So, what I will do, I will have to look into that, but we could, my view is that if it's been rejected as being bullying and harassment because it's grievance, then that has all been dealt with because she went to stage 3. We can only deal, usually with bullying and harassment, we can only go back 3 months. So, I'm looking at this from the 10th of March, so you returned to the mail centre.
Yes.
You said you were supposed to be on your original duty.
Yes.
So has that been sorted out?
No.
What are you doing now?
No, I'm still not on my duty. My duty is 315.
Right.
That duty.
Who's your manager?
My line manager is Pat Parsons, who a couple of weeks ago told me I don't.
Who, sorry?
Pat Parsons, who in a conversation said that I don't have a duty. Now that's contrary to what was discussed. I've had.
So have you got? Do you have this in writing? Why when you said that you were returning to your original duty?
I believe so. Yes. I've had.
What you would need to do is speak with Pat about that, about what duty. Because to be fair, managers, it's perfectly within their remit to put employees where the work is and where they feel that they would be the most useful. There's no sort of right to this is mine and that's what I'm going to do. If they feel that it's more suitable for you to work elsewhere, then it's perfectly within their remit to do that. So you would have to speak to your manager about your original duty. What
I'm saying is it's contrary to what was agreed under both the grievance meetings that I've recently had.
Yeah, you would need to speak to your manager about that.
That's not my main issue. My main issue is the fact that you've never dealt with the complaint against John O'Shea for bullying and harassment, and basically blocking my promotional opportunities, disability discrimination, and victimisation. These and the offensive comments that I got from John O'Shea in his emails that I don't qualify to get the job. Right. That's paraphrasing. There were other.
That was in your original complaint.
They were in my original complaint. Yes, they were in there from the 2nd of August when I first had put this in as a grievance about bullying and harassment, and discrimination and victimisation. And so far, this is from the 2nd of August 2013. So far, nothing has been done.
Yeah. So that was rejected by Sue because it was being dealt with under the grievance process.
Which it never was.
That went to grievance stage 3, and Tim Caie said that you needed to return it as a bullying and harassment.
Yes.
Okay. So I will look into that and see what we can do about that. I would need to do some more investigating and come back to you. Now, since you returned to work in March, have there been issues of bullying and harassment from either John or Tony?
I wouldn't say from Tony. He did try and make communication with me, I think, but I told Pat Parsons to explain to him that I don't want to have a conversation with him.
So why is that when he was trying to talk to you?
Because I consider his actions previous to me leaving the mail centre to have been harassment. I don't want to have a conversation with the man.
Okay.
Right. And also, to answer your question, yes, John O'Shea has once last week, I think it was, placed himself down on the floor within quite close proximity to me and stood there for something like 20, 30 minutes, in the company of other managers, but, he wasn't doing anything that he couldn't have been doing in the manager's office. And it's, to me, he's trying to make his presence felt. I consider it intimidation. I was assured that he wouldn't come anywhere near me. In the grievance procedure, when this was discussed, I was assured that wouldn't happen, but it has. I understand that the man's got a job to do, and Yesterday I saw him on the office floor. He obviously has his look round and that's fine. I can't complain about that. But to stand there in what I consider to be intimidating for an extended amount of time, if I was a man in his position and someone had put in the complaints about me that I've put about him, I wouldn't be doing that. You know?
To be fair, I mean, did he actually speak to you?
No, he didn't speak to me.
Anything? Did he say anything?
No, he didn't speak to me. He didn't say anything. But he doesn't have to for me to perceive that as being, intimidating.
You can't really say somebody's bullying you if they haven't actually done anything. You know, by standing there.
If I consider, Mia.
Yeah.
If I consider him to be intimidating me, that comes under the bullying and harassment procedure.
Yeah, but what did he actually do to intimidate you?
He was just standing there within close proximity to me in my work area, which I feel is unnecessary. I feel it's intimidating, and I feel it comes under the bullying and harassment procedure.
But if he was in the company of other managers, they could have been talking about a process, they could have been talking about something in that work.
They certainly could.
It could have been a million and one
It could have been.
I don't know, I'm just sort of saying here what could have happened.
Well, as I've explained to you, if I was in his position, I wouldn't be putting myself there if someone's made a complaint against me. Any sensible manager would not do that. There's a manager's office, not very far away.
Why he, I'm just asking the question here. There could have been a million reasons why they weren't in the manager's office. It could have been anything that they were actually there. So what are you looking for? What resolution are you looking for?
I'm looking for you to do an investigation into this man's behaviours and Tony Salmon's, right? And, I mean, I've already had an employment tribunal. The fact that Royal Mail chose to put these two people in the office that I'm now working in, when I went there to get away from them, is bad enough. But when that manager then blocked my progress as far as going for a promotion, and I did things by the book.
What was the outcome of your ET?
I was reinstated in my job, transferred to Norwich because I couldn't work with them at Ipswich. And everything, as I've said all the way down the line, right, the tribunal upheld my complaint fully.
Yeah.
Right? And basically, they gave a very long report against Royal Mail.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was to be able to do my job unmolested. Right? What John O'Shea and Tony Salmon were involved in, and particularly John O'Shea, what he did as far as my complaint down in Ipswich, a bullying and harassment complaint, was unacceptable, and it should have been investigated anyway. If the tribunal overruled Royal Mail and said that you acted basically irresponsibly in the way that my complaint was handled and the investigation into my allegation where no evidence was found when the tribunal found contrary to that and said it was very obvious, why would Royal Mail put these people in the office that I'm now working in knowing about that? And
I don't think it's personal.
Well, I do.
The thing is, Royal Mail have to put both staff and managers in places where they want them to be in the business. Now, all the grievances and your ET, they've all been dealt with. They're all done. We can't revisit those. What I can do is have an investigation, or I will do some digging to find out what we can do moving forward. What you've told me so far, there is no bullying and harassment, so we cannot investigate any of that. Because
I just want to point out that I don't accept that.
Well, by a man standing close to you it's not bullying and harassment. If you are working in the same place, we need to find a way for you to work together with both John and Tony. So we could look at perhaps restoring relationships, because it's obvious that the business does need both people there. They need you there as well. So it's how you're going to work together.
That's not what I've asked for, though, is it?
But
No, they haven't been investigated, Mia. They have not been investigated. They have not.
You took your grievance to stage 3. You had an outcome for that. You've had the ET and the outcome for that. There's no further bullying and harassment since the 10th of March.
That's what you say.
But all you've got is that he was standing there with managers. You know, he didn't approach you, he didn't speak to you. You've already said that in your letter that Tony was trying to speak to you, but you've avoided him. So we need to find a way to resolve that, so you don't feel whatever it is, and they understand how to make things work.
Personally, I don't think they're interested in making things work. What they're interested in is me leaving the business, right? And they very nearly had that. I took a transfer to a different office, right? I couldn't do the job because of disabilities. I didn't get any help, right? I then had bullying and harassment from a postman down there. Now, this is further to my manager at that office informed me that he had met with John O'Shea, right, when there's no reason on earth why they should have done, okay? When I asked for me to be transferred back into the mail centre, which I believe is my right up to 6 months, okay, when I asked to be transferred back, he put an email to John O'Shea, who sent back another email in which he refused to have me back, and in which, as I've said in my complaint, he left loads of blank spaces, or large blank spaces, for which Paul Browning was to draw his own conclusions. Now, when a manager goes beyond the realms of his job, right, it's bullying and harassment, and if you don't...
But that has all been dealt with.
No, it has not been dealt with, Mia.
Yeah, what I will do, I'll take some advice on this and see what we can do moving forward. So, are you wanting to stay at Norwich Mail Centre? What?
I was wanting to stay there, of course.
Yeah.
I fought very hard to get my job back. Again.
Right. So you still want to work at Norwich Mail Centre. Now, in the scenario that neither John or Tony can be removed from the business, would it be possible for us to do some kind of work around getting you to work together?
What you're saying is you expect me to go restorative conferencing with a man that I feel has, for the second time, screwed up my career, right? On top of what he did at Ipswich, he's blocked my promotional opportunities. I've been forced to leave Norwich and go for a different job. When I couldn't do that job, I've tried to come back and he's blocked me and continued to block me until he was overruled. Okay, and you want me to, let me get this right, you want me to sit in a room with this man, shake hands and say everything's alright. That's not the case.
If we don't find a way forward, what will happen?
What I want you...
what are we going to do? Because you're going to still feel all upset and, feel that nobody's doing anything.
You're not doing anything. I've been asking since August for this to be investigated by a senior manager and look into his conduct, right? And you are not doing that. You're just covering it up by saying, oh, not you personally, but Royal Mail is saying the man made a mistake. He's paid a lot of money, right? He's in charge of a mail centre and he's a hiring manager for a job. And what you're telling me, or what Royal Mail is telling me, is that this man doesn't know what he's doing, right? Because that's easier for me to swallow than the fact that this guy is persecuting me, victimising me, as he has done for years.
Yeah. Leave it with me, James. What I will do, as I said, I'll go and take some advice and find out what we can do moving forward. As I explained, we can't revisit the grievances, we can't do anything about the ET, that's already been done. So let me find out and see what, take some advice and see how we proceed with it.
Right, okay.
Okay?
Yep, thank you.
I'll call you back. Thanks,
Cheers.
John. Bye-bye.
Bye. It's James, not John.